Okay, we're going to look at midpoint of a line, and we're doing an introduction here. And just to get us started, you've got to remember a few things from your earlier years. And first thing is, I'm drawing up a set of axes, and you might remember that it's X and Y, very important. And this is called the Cartesian axis system, named after René Descartes. Can you hear his name in there? Cartesian, with a capital C. So the Cartesian axis system. And basically they're like a number line. You remember number lines from when you were in primary school, like a number line in a horizontal direction combined with a number line in a vertical direction. And we can put those two together and we have our Cartesian axis system. There's actually a three-dimensional one. If you ever do specialist maths one day, you'll see the 3D one, which is the best one. Now if we have a point on this Cartesian axis system, or a plane, P-L-A-N-E, which means a flat surface, if you want to know the technical word, it's a plane, which is a flat surface, a flat 2D surface. We have numbers and they can describe the position, but you need, because it's two number lines joined together, we need two numbers. So let's say we've got 1, 2, 3, etc. going that way. We've got 1, 2 going that way. This point here would be a combination of going across and going up. And we basically would call that 1, 2, 3 and 1, 2. It has to be in that order. So the order is X first, Y second. So it's the across and then it's the up or down. Remember, the origin 0, 0 is here. So the other thing we need to consider is finding the middle of two numbers. Let's start with an easy example. What's the middle of the gap between 1 and 5? What's the middle? Well, you'll go, oh, it's easy, that's 3. 3 is in the middle. So the middle of two numbers, we can get that by finding their mean, which is add the two numbers together and divide by 2, which is very easy, isn't it? 6 over 2 is 3. So for even more difficult numbers, we can do that. So if we've got a number line like this, 0 in the middle, we've got 1, 2, 3 there, and going in the other direction we've got -1, -2, etc. that way. What's the middle of from 3 to -2? We do the same thing. We add them together and divide by 2. So that would be 3 plus -2 over 2. 3 plus -2 is 1. 1 over 2 is a half. So 1/2 would actually be the middle spot between the two of them. So the middle would be there. So it doesn't actually have to fall on a number. It can fall between numbers. So to calculate the midpoint of a line, which is the middle basically, you need to combine these two things. You need to combine number 1, the Cartesian system, knowing about that, the things we said above, and 2, finding the average of two numbers, or the mean of two numbers, or the middle point of two numbers. If you can combine those two ideas together, you've got the midpoint, and you won't even need to remember the formula. It will just make sense. Let's have a look. So the midpoint, which is sometimes called M, of a line segment. Now a line segment is a line that doesn't go forever, because did you know that a line actually goes forever? A proper line does, but a line segment has a start and an end. So the midpoint of a line segment is the halfway point between the two endpoints. You've got to look at it in the x coordinates, which is across, and the y coordinates. So you find the mean of the x and the mean of the y coordinates. Now if you have a look, the midpoint formula is given here. It gives you a number, one number, comma, a second number. See the comma there? So you find the averages of the x's, average of two numbers, and the averages of the y. So what we have are 2 points given in this example here, and I'm just writing them in. You can see that they're also plotted up here. The point 1, 5 is that point, and the point 4, 2, with its point there. And they need a name. So the first point up the top, we're going to call that point 1, because that's its name. Point 2, that's the other one's name. And that's where all of these little 1s and little 2s come from. These little 1s and 2s here are subscripts, which mean they're the small naming numbers. Let's see if we can find the corresponding ones. So, because this is point 1 up here, this is the x value and the y value. Now, so we don't get them confused with the x and the y down here, we need to give them a name, and the name is x1 and y of point 1, and this is x of 2 and y of point 2. You can see that you put them in the formulas here. You can see where they would go. Let's have a look over here on this side. We've got x1, which is 1, y1 here, and we've got x2, and we've got y2. So you can see it's the averages of the x's and the averages of the y's. So it looks at what's the average point going up and the average point going across. And we get 2.5 and 3.5. So that point there, the midpoint, would have the coordinates 2.5, 3.5. And that's your answer. Your answer is a point. It's not a number, it's a point. A point needs 2 coordinates. Alright, that's your midpoint.